Welcome to this episode of the Torque and Horsepower Podcast. I'm your co-host, Eric Herbert.
And I'm your co-host, Alex Stursa. Today we have the one and only Reed King on with us.
What's up?
All right, Reed, so give us a little background.
Where are you from? How did it all start? Where'd you go to school? All that shit.
Des Moines, Iowa, 1990. I lived there till I was like 4. Moved to northwest Indiana, right outside Chicago, for most of my childhood. Then ended up in Southern California for a couple of years and moved up to Reno in 2007. So finished high school up here and just kind of never left.
Right on. that was a quick go. Yeah.
Where do you want me to go?
That's a quick go.
There's probably not a lot going on back in Indiana.
In Indiana.
Oh, what a shithole.
You ain't fucking kidding,
I lived in Decatur and Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
So you weren't that far from me. Fort Wayne was, I mean, how far is that from like northwest Indiana? It's not that far. It's a couple hours.
Yeah, less than 2.
Everything's less than 2. That place is a shithole, dude.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
God.
I feel like I did this Facebook exercise a long time ago, and I feel like most of the people I went to high school with either like moved away or overdosed on drugs.
Yeah.
Really find a medium. It's about all there is to do there.
There wasn't. So we had soybeans and Amish, and that was it. And like you could go work building machine. What do you call? How do you make? What do you call growing? What?
Yeah.
Making soybeans.
Yeah.
Processing
Farming.
Yeah, there you go. Farming soybeans or processing soybeans, or you were Amish.
The way you said it, though, you made the Amish sound like a commodity, like soybeans.
That's what we had. Like they would show, and I don't have an issue with the Amish personally.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
They're nice fellas.
Yeah.
But you like
Shit, they can move by themselves.
You ever seen those motherfuckers move a barn?
they do a lot of stuff. It's impressive. But when you want to go to Wendy's, when you want,
You ever seen the quilts?
Yeah,
Real warm.
Real warm.
when you go to Wendy's and two Ford E350 vans show up and all these Amish dudes pile out and take over the Wendy's and all you smell is BO. You're like, they don't use deodorant. I'm like, I don't
shun fancy things like electricity.
I don't think I want Wendy's anymore. Let's go somewhere else.
Was that Amish or Mennonites? I didn't think the Amish could use fucking cars, right?
No, they hire a driver.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's okay then.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a Dutch rudder. It's fine if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one cool thing, so Lingenfelter was in Decatur, and Formula boats are built in Decatur.
Oh, really?
And I was like,
I
man,
feel like every motorhome and boat is built somewhere between Indiana and Ohio.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty fair.
like manufacturing of shit is off the hook, but God, you don't want to live there.
It's fucking horrible. I did a lot of dumb shit though. It's a cool place to grow up.
I like the torrential weather.
The torrential weather?
Yeah, but
Compared to here,
Yeah.
Our grocery store, we had a tornado and the grocery store roof was gone.
oh, dude, that was like my biggest fear as a
Gonzo.
kid.
Was
Like,
tornado?
the fucking tornado siren. That shit freaked me out, man.
That's always a fun Tuesday, though. You're like, do we have a grocery store or not? Yeah.
Yeah, that part was. I like the weather. The winter sucked, and there's no mountains. There's not even hills, but
No, there's hills. I mean, the dunes are like the Indiana Dunes State Park. There's
yeah,
hills
a little
there.
bit hills. Yeah.
A couple 100 foot.
Hey, man. I learned how to snowboard in northwest Indiana
Yeah.
on a hill that I don't know, maybe it was a dump at some point or another, but the lift, it literally took longer to go up than to go down the hill. But I snowboarded there like 6 days a week.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then I moved here and I've snowboarded like 6 times in 15 years.
I assume it's similar to me in North Dakota because you can't even play hide and seek because you just watch them run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot fucking happening there.
What's
Like,
cool
oh,
is, like-
there goes Drew. Yeah.
What's wild though is like you look at it and everything's like, you see why it's fucking cheap to live there, right? Like, I don't know if you guys can imagine me growing up in a gated country club.
Nope.
Like, they fucking loved me.
Yeah, I bet.
XR70 on a golf course.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
America got the old Mississippi mud flap hanging out, dude. Just fucking getting it.
I was a shitbag.
Yeah. So once you got to Reno, what did you do?
Oh,
What did you like it? What were your hobbies? That
dude,
kind of stuff.
I hated this place when I
Really?
first. Yeah, I just think I didn't want to move, but
Right.
yeah, it grows on you. Did a lot of motorcycle riding. BMX as a kid. Got into cars. Really, anything with wheels has kind of always been what I was into.
Yeah.
Finished high school, went to UTI in Sacramento, and now use absolutely nothing that I went to school for.
Right.
But
That's not true. You helped my dad paint that water truck.
it came out real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I still do use them from time to time. It got me
Right.
where I'm at, but it's kind of a different world than now. It's cool.
So once you got out of UTI, what did you end up doing?
I worked in the body shops for a couple years. Got laid off one December. Say laid off, I got fired. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Ended up at a wrecking yard and never left.
Right on.
Yeah, it's definitely a different industry.
It is.
Always something different to do.
So when you got into the wrecking yard, what was your job?
Parts puller.
Parts puller.
Yeah, it started in January. I think the first day I was there, I pulled like 9 rear axles and 8 inches of snow.
Perfect.
Oh no.
Dude, it's rough. Good old Reno auto wrecking. But yeah, man, pulled parts for a couple years. Kind of did a little bit of everything there. I think I really blossomed when they gave me a company vehicle to drive around at 20 years old.
Yeah.
We'd show up at Alex's shop at noon and he's asleep.
Yeah.
I remember you showing up at my shop, and all I could hear was that thing on rev limiter until I went outside.
Yeah, wasn't it like an Isuzu NPR or something, dude?
Yeah, they have a new one of it now.
Good.
It'd probably still run if the dickhead after me didn't crash it.
Right.
But yeah, man, those were the good days to drive delivery trucks, like when they didn't GPS anything and you could go home.
Yeah,
because
can you imagine if you had you working for you right now?
You'd be fired, bro. I wouldn't last a fucking week.
For sure.
It's like, hey, man, what are you doing at Bully's, and why have you been there for 2 hours?
Yeah. Like, oh, they needed some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget when they cut all our overtime out, and like we had to start taking hour lunches, and I was the first guy to take a lunch. And if you got to JJ's Pie Company,
Fuck yeah.
before 11:30, tall boys same price as a short boy. So you show up at 11:28, you order 2 of them, wings and pizza, and you sit there for an hour, and you just go back,
Have a good time,
full and buzzed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go through that a little bit. Like, what's your steps through the auto wrecking world?
Oh, man, I've really done a little bit of everything. Like I said, started in parts pulling. Did that for about a year. Drove the delivery truck for a few years. Went into sales at Reno Auto Wrecking.
My favorite time for you?
That was the favorite one?
Yeah, because every time any one of us would call, you'd pick up, you'd be like, Reno Auto Wrecking, please hold. And as soon as you say Reno Auto Wrecking, he's like, read, it's me. And you're
like, oh, what's up, dude?
What's up, dude? Yeah.
I was usually probably trying to eat when I was saying that. But yeah, I did sales for a few years. Sometime around 2016, B&R bought a yard in Carson. And I mean, for what I did at Reno Auto Wrecking, I paid straight hourly. So I mean, I went to B&R and doubled what I was making, and it
was in a whole other town.
Yeah, for no work. So I mean, I was driving 120 miles a day.
Right.
Did that for a little bit. Moved out to Dayton, and it turned out to be a cool company to work for. Never in my life did I think I could be where I'm at just working in a wrecking yard. People usually just think of it as like a bunch of fucking gypsies and
a little bit of meth here and there.
Just out there like hogging cats out and like doing meth all day. But yeah, no, people don't realize like it's a whole industry, man.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And
a huge money industry
too.
Yeah,
it's super lucrative, and there's so many different ways to be successful at it. And I think that's where I excelled. Like I don't know if you guys know me too well, but I'm not really a structure guy.
No. Yeah.
So just kind of getting handed. I mean, I did sales there for a couple of years, and the manager at that time left, and I mean, my interview to manage a auto wrecking yard was the current CEO of our company signing a bunch of checks to leave. It's like, hey man, you ever thought about running a wrecking yard? I'm like,
maybe.
I guess I will now. But yeah, that was where it started. I ran that yard for about 5 years, and then just here about a year ago, it was father and son that always owned it. They father retired, sold it to a private equity company, and their big goal is just growth. We've acquired 5 or 6 new yards since then, and kind of the world's your oyster, man. It's growing quickly. And
so at B&R, you went from sales to management there.
Sales to yard manager, and now the title's regional vice president. So I mean, as it goes, man. 14 years ago, I started in a wrecking yard pulling parts out, and now I run that wrecking yard.
Coming home with stripper glitter on you, dude. I remember those days.
Yeah, dude, taking a cab from the $5 blackjack table to Calneva to go pull parts.
Did you ever get your True Religions back? Or
no, dude, never got the True Religions back.
That's why you never let a stripper borrow your pants.
Yeah, dude, that was a good time.
Did you trade outfits with a stripper?
No, I don't. No, I gotta be honest. I don't really remember how the pants got left there, man. No, I'm not sure.
Reed came home.
It's probably better that way.
Yeah, it probably is. Well, I think you actually went to the stripper's house, and then somehow there's a pants mix-up, and Reed came home.
Did you leave in a thong?
No. I think maybe I had my work pants with me or something. Yeah. I don't remember.
But we came home, and Reed's on the couch, and like the armrest.
No, dude, that was after the 21st birthday.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Face down on the armrest.
On the armrest.
Dude, I was like a fucking
and then
walrus.
just fucking goes to Hawk Luke and spits back on himself. So fuck.
Yeah. No, that was definitely after the stripper incident, because that was when Stryker, father-in-law, who was my boss.
Yeah, you got to tell that story, dude. You got to tell that one.
That's a good one, man. So
we need to have Stryker on here.
We do need to have Stryker on here.
Stryker would be a good one. That man is full of colorful stories.
Yeah.
So Stryker was the guy who hired me at Reno Auto Wrecking. He was yard foreman at the time. And his daughter at the time when he hired me would have been like 16 or 17, and he'd come back to work from a whole weekend, yeah, bro, I was at Miss Nevada with my daughter all weekend. Check out my suit. Bro, your daughter's fucking hot.
For the audience, Reed was also really young at this time.
Yeah, dude, it was legal.
Yeah, it was legal.
But yeah, no, he came into work one day. He was like, yeah, dude, it's my daughter's 18th birthday. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. You give them digits up or what? And dude, I fucked with him all day. And finally he's like, you want a fucking phone number? Fine. I'm like, all right. So anyways, I started texting his daughter. And the next day he comes in, it looked like somebody shit in that man's Cheerios. I'm like, what?
You did.
Yeah. Why are you so mad, bro?
And now, how long have you guys been married?
No, married was 2017, so
yeah.
We've been together for 12 years?
Yeah.
13 years, something like that. But yeah, we quietly started talking after that. Dude, I could say this now because it's been a long ass time, but we started dating and she would stay at my apartment, and my apartment was 45 seconds from Reno Auto Wrecking.
It really was. It was legitimately 45 seconds.
I would go to work, drive down the hill. She's right in front of me going down 4th Street. Stryker's coming to work, and I'm turning into work. And
sorry, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pissed the next day. I'm like, bro, you gave me your hot-ass daughter's 18-year-old daughter's phone number. I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah. It's actually your fault. This is your fault.
Yeah, I told him, look, man, if you didn't fucking approve of me, you wouldn't have hired me.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, you quietly gave your approval by giving me a job.
Yeah.
So, and then he quit and moved to Phoenix. And
now he's doing more Harley shit.
Yeah.
Brother. But yeah, he's busy as fuck down there, man.
Yeah.
Cool. I was down at the shop a couple weeks ago. We went down for, I don't remember what. But, a cool spot down there. He'd be a good one to have on the show for sure.
Yeah. And you have, you've always been really good at flipping vehicles.
Dude, you make the money on the buy, man.
On the buy.
You don't make it it's the art of the deal. Yeah, it's always been fun, man. I've loved.
We know who he's voting for.
Yeah.
I'm not, dude. Fuck them all.
Yeah.
No, man, it's man. I've always bought and sold anything I can. I think that's the thing I like the most.
Honestly, since we live together, you've bought and sold shit all the time.
That's always how we made a little bit of
extra side
spare
cash.
change on the side.
Dude, it's always and
I've never been good at it, dude. I'll buy something and somebody will be like, hey, bro, will you pay me for that? And I was like, yeah, I'll pay you, dude. Go get it.
Yeah.
Reed's fucking good at it.
Yeah, man. And I think that's why I do so well at a wrecking yard, man, because, like, it's one man's shit box is worth a whole lot of money to somebody else.
Right.
And I've always enjoyed it, man. I've kind of gotten past the point of, like, dude, the first flip I ever did, man, I got out of school and, like...
That fucking top... What was it?
The Blazer.
The old K5 Blazer.
Yeah, K5 Blazer.
Dude, I wish I had that fucking thing because it'd be worth a bag of money now.
Yeah.
But, dude, I bought this thing for, like, $500, and it was... I mean, it ran good, but it was fucking beat.
Painted in your dad's garage.
Yeah, dude, lived at home at that point. Like, dude, that thing got a front clip, 2 front doors, a tailgate, both the quarters fixed, the roof fixed, and it, like, the amount of time I had in that thing, I don't think, like on paper, sure, I made a little bit of money, but, dude,
Right.
I worked 300 hours for, like, 7 cents an hour.
Yeah.
But, yeah, after that was the only one I've ever done, like, a complete on, and I'm much more the guy now who's like, nah, man, just find the right one that you can do a little bit to and move on. Keep it rolling and moving. But and it's even more fun now because now, like, a lot of times I just do it for the yard, right?
Right. Well, and it's always fun spending somebody else's money.
Oh, 100%,
Yeah.
man. If there's one thing I'm good at,
Yeah.
boy, that checkbook gets a hole in it.
Yeah.
And then it gets even worse, right? Like, I don't remember who turned me on. I think it must have been Toby turned me on to fucking Alden from Nevada Gold Mines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, buddy, dude.
Yeah.
When they started selling me every retired truck from the mines,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking sweet.
Well, it's funny because Quentin, who was on the podcast,
Yeah,
he's
that's episode.
Yeah, he's the exact same as you. You guys could be brothers, and you guys fuck each other anytime you can, and I love it. It's the best thing ever. They fight over trucks. They fuck each other.
I stopped fighting over him, dude. They're pieces like the one.
They're piles of shit. Is what they are.
The one I fought over him with, I'm like, it ain't worth it. These things are shit boxes.
They
but
are.
like,
Well, yeah, because an underground truck, yeah, it has 12,000 miles, but it's got 26,000 hours, dude.
they don't have hour meters, sir.
If you plug into them, they do.
But yeah, man, that part of it was super cool too. You know, it's not just cars, right? Like finding those niches where, like, you know, buying the takeoff truck beds
Right.
and all those parts that a lot of times people just throw away. That you know, it's staying in your lane, right? Like, I can never do what Quentin does, man.
Right.
I don't know what I don't know how to take apart a D10. I can't even move the fucking thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's wild when you have those avenues to move those parts. How much
Right.
money can be made on them?
Oh, absolutely.
And how, like, you know, you look at all these people that think that stuff's just worthless and throw it away, and
Right.
it's like, dude, people make their entire business model after that.
Right.
So
Well, and you found a lot of stuff with B&R, with like B&R towing now,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, that's not something that
yeah, it's figuring out how to tie it all together, right? Like,
Right.
you know, we have a towing company now, and finding all those niches, man. Like, there's dudes who make I've been buying cars from a guy who all he does, and originally, like, I saw it and I was pissed because, like, all the random scrapper guys a lot of times are just scuzzy shitbags that just,
Right.
you know, they're flying under the radar. But this guy actually has, like, a legit wrecker's license. He doesn't even take cars apart, man.
right,
All he does is picks cars up for free, leans them, and sells them.
right. Because, like you're saying, that dude that's driving that fucking $500 car, when it breaks down on the side of the road and needs fucking $1,500 worth of fix, he's not going to even pick it up. He doesn't give a fuck.
Well,
Dude, leave it there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing, like, what the insurance company doesn't care about, right?
Right.
If it's like, you know, we've gotten so many cars where it's like we take it in with no paperwork, and it's just some total 2020 late model truck that's got
Right.
$20,000 in parts in it, and like the insurance company's like, yeah, we're not coming to get it.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of that with like BLM and stuff, right? Like picking up with BLM and
Yeah, I mean, the BLM stuff is more just a community service thing for me. You don't
Right.
get a lot of good stuff off BLM, though.
a lot of
Got like
motorhomes.
7,000 bullet holes in a motorhome.
Dude,
A
they're on my-
motorhome with a microwave fire.
Dude,
Yeah.
after last month, they're on my
Oh, yeah.
shit list, bud. Bro, this homeless dude, like, I have never met a homeless person that I dislike as much as this guy. Because
It's not the same one that Hot Cop Taylor and
that's the same one,
it's the
dude.
same fucking one.
That guy is a fucking...
How long has he lived there?
Dude, so first he lived up the street
Right.
in the fucking Oakland airport city buses somebody spray painted Road to Meth Town on the side of. And dude, this guy just like, bro, shits everywhere.
Legitimately shits everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he lived right across the street from this dude's house, and like this guy's got kids and shit, so I totally,
Right.
I get it. But like that guy just pushed all his shit down to BLM land. It's like not my problem anymore.
Yeah.
But that BLM land also borders my yard.
Right.
So he moves there. I'm like, yeah, whatever. He's one of those homeless guys. Like sometimes I almost think like a security guard, right? He doesn't
Yeah.
steal anything of value. Like he'll come in your yard just high as a fucking kite, dude, and like he'll walk out. Like, dude, this one day he walks out with these coil springs he randomly found. Walks by, he's like, hey man, did you know it's springtime? And I'm like, that's kind of fucking funny.
It's kind of funny,
I fucking hate you, but okay. So
Yeah.
he'll go make little sculptures everywhere and everything. But anyway, so his fucking village.
He's like an artist blacksmith.
Yeah, exactly.
On the side.
On the side, yeah.
What's wild though is like this guy's mom is like some Chilean diplomat, and from what I understand, just sends money so he doesn't come home.
Oh.
So he
Yeah.
always randomly
I
comes up.
need a job like that.
Dude,
Yeah.
he randomly comes up with money. But like, so the old fucking road to Methtown bus ends up at the other side of my yard, and then his village slowly starts getting bigger. There's
Right.
one motorhome, and then the next car he buys that breaks down, then the next motorhome.
Now it's a commune.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and
coming.
he had
Yeah.
roomies for a little bit. They'd be out there in the morning
Roomies.
cooking fucking breakfast, and dude, it finally like he'd
Eggs and meth.
Yeah, eggs and math for the morning.
he'd get arrested. I don't know, like every 90 days or something. And Lyon County hates him because he's a shitter.
Yeah.
Smears shit.
Yeah. Oh no.
Dude, they don't want to put him in the squad car, nothing, dude. He was at they put him on a psych hold because he just shit in his hand and wipe it all over the wall. It was gross, dude. But this guy, I've both laughed at and also tried to fight like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like one day his car gets, like after he gets arrested, his car gets dumped on BLM land across the street from the yard. He comes over, he's like, hey man, we're fucking busy, right? Wrecking yards that's the one thing I just, a busy wrecking yard is like, it's like an art, dude. You have to get like all these people just doing a bunch of random shit. But he comes like, hey man, will you go lift my car up so I can take the wheels off it? I'm like, no man, like go the fuck away, leave me alone. And he's got this bottle of water and he's like, have some water, and throws water all.
Oh,
Dude.
fuck.
I'm halfway down this ramp and Jason, my manager, just grabs me. He's like, no man. But anyway, so you fast forward to, I don't know.
I put the forks through the wheel.
Yeah.
Oh dude, we'll get to the end of the story. It's great. But you fast forward to a couple weeks later, he's been in jail for a while, doesn't live there anymore, all his shit's still there. He randomly shows up and he's in my office, and I look down at the bottom of my yard and I'm like, it's after burn season, so we'll burn like tumbleweeds and shit.
Yeah.
And usually everybody will be like, hey, I know where it's at. I'm like, that looks kind of big for a pile of weeds. I'm like, I go around the corner and start going down, and it's just getting bigger. I'm like, uh-oh. I go around the back, and the road to Methtown bus is fully fucking engulfed. And it's on my fence. The other side of my fence, there's like 50 or 60 crush cars. And I call the fire department. I'm like, yeah, you guys are going to need to get here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They're like, well, is there anything else that's going to burn? I'm like, yeah, a lot.
A lot, yeah.
So that fire did all 6 of his motorhomes, all his trash on the outside of the fence.
Which, that's nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's less to clean up.
Yeah.
Did my fence, 50 crush cars, 8 motorhomes.
Oh no!
Just so much random stuff.
Did those boats finally go up?
The one boat's gone. Like,
Oh, okay.
You can see what's left of the small plot.
Perfect.
There is nothing left.
Now you have a core.
Nah, they don't buy fires, man. But
Was that pretty recent?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks
A
ago.
couple weeks ago, yeah.
It was 3 counties, man. It was fucking huge. And it was like 8 minutes that thing was just ripping. And I was pissed. There was one, like I had bought one truck that I was like some 18 International reefer truck that needed like some $20,000 transmission, but like the reefer unit and box had like 1,500 hours on it. So like the box and the reefer unit's like 10 grand, right? And
All melted.
it wasn't yet. They're over there with the loader trying to chain it and drag it, and like it's big enough that every airbag in every car is just poof, poof, poof. And I'm like, yeah, just let it rip, tater chip.
Yeah.
And that thing's gone. And Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't take anything of value, but yeah.
Do you get to report to insurance? Like, I have a junkyard, and like $100,000 worth of shit got burned by a homeless guy.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't. I mean, that one it didn't go through insurance. The ship, for the most part, weighed the same at the end. It was mostly scrap that burned, but it was real close to getting into. There's this little building down there that we use to store engines, transmissions, stuff like that. And at the end of that building, there's plenty of hybrid batteries in there.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so they showed up, and I'm like, I don't really care about any of that. Just don't let that burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you won't be able to put that out.
No, it goes up. And luckily, like, every fire department that showed up, I've always, like, whatever they need for extrication training. Last month I probably gave them 50.
Donate cars to cut
I
up.
donate cars, space, whatever, man. Show up, I'll set it up for you, do what you got to do. And, like, every one of them showed up, like, hey, bro. I'm like, hey, man.
My shit's burning down.
Don't let the batteries catch on fire.
Yeah, I'm like, the batteries are over there. Don't let those ones go. But, like, sheriffs are there, and I'm like, yeah, I think it was Mario. And every one of them's like, fuck. They just don't want to deal with him. But
right.
Luckily, all his shit burned. I don't think he's been back since. But yeah, that was fires and wrecking yards, man. They're not fun.
It's not good.
No, they're not fun.
I'm gonna do a side note. Do you know Dick Mills?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
So that's who started Airport, or no, Reno.
Yeah, Dick, that whole group of them. That was who just sold to us. Yeah.
Dick started Reno Auto Wrecking, and their house was at the wrecking yard.
Yeah. Dude, there's still pictures of it. Like, Rick's house was there, Dick's house was there. It's all that, like, those are the days of wrecking yards I wish I could go back to.
You want to talk about hot daughters?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh my god. So my dad was a dentist, and Dick Mills was a patient of my dad's, and they were both in the same Lions Club together.
Yeah.
So we raced soapbox derby.
Yeah.
On what street is it? I can't remember the name of the street. Ralston.
Yeah.
Downtown. So my dad and Dick were like, fuck, we don't want to sand wood all fucking winter to make a soapbox derby car. We're gonna fucking cut an oil drum in half and make a soapbox derby car out of an oil drum.
Yeah.
It's not very aerodynamic at all. So my dad and Dick build this freaking car, but I was too little to drive it. So the first time I drove a race car, Anton, who should be on the podcast, I had to sit on his fucking lap and riding this fucking oil drum down Ralston when I was a kid. Yeah, we hung out at the junkyard a lot.
Yeah, man, he's a good dude. Like I said, man, those are the days of wrecking yards.
That was old school when it was real.
Those are the days that I miss, man. Like, it's also, and I still love it now, right? It's a great industry, but it's also commercial, big. Like, everything is gone. And it's funny, man. There's still bits and pieces of that, like in the rafters of the right yards. Like, Reno Auto Wrecking's got like all the old Hollander books, and like when you had to like flip through 500 pages to figure out
what.
Yeah, like when I started at Reno Auto Wrecking, there was no computer system. There was a big Rolodex on the wall that was every single car, all the inventory on it. The day you had to cut it all out.
That was 40 years ago, Drew.
That's crazy. It's amazing how much has changed since
well,
then.
like you look
his whole family lived at the junkyard. Like, we would go we stop by his house. Hi. We'll go over here. My dad needs like a freaking wiper arm or something.
Yeah.
And like we didn't walk through his house to get to the junkyard, but that's where they lived.
Well, and what's wild is like they still have overhead pictures of where the houses were and like all that stuff when it was there, and you start looking at that picture and you're like, it's like 69 Camaro, Roadrunner, like all this shit that's worth so much money now.
Really cool shit out there, and it got crushed.
And back then, you're just like,
fuck this thing, dude.
Dude, that was like the yard we did that they bought that extra 6 acres.
Yeah.
That was when junkyards were junkyards, dude. The office was like and I sold what was their office. It was like a 1954 53-foot Travelette fucking camper trailer.
Right.
And this yard had been abandoned for 30 years.
Wow.
Like
it was a timepiece. It really was a timepiece.
You go in this, and there's like it's like everybody just left, man. Like, there's stacks of receipts for crush cars that went to Portland like 40 years ago, and like 500 crush cars was like $500. And those are the junkyard gold. Like finding that old stuff is.
It was super cool if you run your blade through that yard because you find 50 years of shit in your tires.
Dude, do you know how many the yard sat for so long and they had this big ass crusher in the middle. It was like this pancake crusher.
That thing was so sketchy.
That was the coolest thing.
It was cool,
dude. So it was just this big flat plate
that they made.
It was all. And homeboy could throw some rock.
Yeah,
it was well welded.
Yeah,
and
there was 70-18 for days on that fucking thing.
Dude, it was this big flat plate, probably, I don't know, 9 foot wide, 25 foot long, and it fell down into a well, and it went up over an A-frame, and these winches, the guy that took the winches when we bought this land's like, yeah, the winches are late 1800s steam engine winches.
Yeah.
That are powered by a Ford small block and a 3-speed with a sprocket welded to the back.
Yeah.
So you start this thing, drop it in gear, and the winches wind it up, and then there's this super ghetto little latch at the top, and you
pull the pin.
You let the winches off, pull the pin, and this plate just falls on the car. And the family we bought it from, the dad had died a long time ago. The daughters are involved in some other recycling yards in California. And I talked to this lady, and she's like, yeah, I was 7 years old, and my dad couldn't run anymore. He's like, yeah, just pull that catch and fucking run. And she was like, we'd blow windows out of the single wide we lived in, just blowing parts out the end. So naturally, I'm sitting there like, all right.
Well, you make it happen.
How do I make this thing work again? The dude had taken the winches out, and we just ran the winch cable to the back of a loader and drug it up and dropped the car.
Oh, and then put a pin on it.
And well, no, the problem is the winches hold enough pressure off of it to where you could pull the catch and then dump the winches. But the winches were gone. So we had to take the tip of the 14-foot forks and shove it up there and push it up. And dude, it's the most violent thing I've ever seen.
Awful.
It was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then we cut it all up. Dude, it was wild. It had been there for so long. There's all the weeds and everything that had grown through it. And, I'm just hogging through this shit with the excavator, trying to get it done. And, the one thing I remember, I'm like, all right, I should really, maybe go look through some of this shit. I just throw the excavator down the scrap pile and pull up a fucking gas pump from the 60s that I have just destroyed.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh, that sucks. So, the front piece of it, I took off and just pounded it back as flat as I could and hung it on the wall. But, dude, I can't tell you how many, 50s and 60s California black plates I found just 2 inches under dirt been sitting there. There was, an old, it was this old motorhome that they had dumped off at some point that somebody had redone some of it, but, you look at the top, at the back of it, and the Caesars Tahoe logo is hand-painted in this motorhome. And I'm like, what did this thing do, the life of it? Where was this thing 50 years ago?
A lot of semen and coke. That's what it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Caesars Tahoe motorhome. Why would a hotel casino need a motorhome?
And how would it have ended up in some random ass wrecking yard?
And if you run your blade across the top of it, you have to call GCR fucking 3 times to fix flat tires.
I'm surprised we only did 3. But
yeah.
Dude, did you remember that old link belt that was there?
Oh yeah, dude, that old crane. I wish I could have got it, but that dude.
It's in Virginia City.
Yeah, I know, but he pulled it out with a tiny ass fucking.
That was the sketchiest thing I've
ever
seen. That was
super sketchy.
But dude, this thing is a late 50s link belt shovel that was at some quarry in Dayton until the 80s. And there's still a couple of those old guys that had yards there that still live there, and they're like, oh yeah, it took them 2 weeks to get that thing here because it overheated every fucking 15 minutes, and they just leave it on the side of the road for a day and come back to the. But yeah, and for me, it's super cool. My grandpa worked on the link belt assembly line when that would have been
when they built that tractor.
It is rad, man.
It was really cool, and that thing was honestly relatively decent shape.
Yeah, dude, I had to. That dude had a 78 GMC 6500
rollback.
A
6500.
It didn't roll back.
That didn't roll back.
Yeah.
And he came down there with some pallet racking that he started to take it apart with, and he's like, "Hey, man," he's down there with a shovel in the hardest dirt in the world, trying to dig a hole to back down to try and shove this thing up there. I'm like, "Hey, man, why don't I just dig you a ramp and you can back down it?" And I shoved it up on there for him, and he goes to pull out of this hole, and the wheels are off the fucking ground trying to move this thing. He's got his kid with him. He's like, oh yeah, we're just going to Virginia City. I'm like,
Yeah, just up.
good luck, buddy.
Yeah, 341. Yeah.
But yeah, like those are the days. Like, dude, just looking through all the history of it is like, I like old shit. The guy that manages my yard absolutely hates me because every like cool old random piece of shit I've found, I've like just put in a corner. I'm like, yeah, dude. When I actually have an office, like, there's gonna be so much cool shit on the walls.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
Back in the day.
changing it up a little bit, going to cars and stuff. What are some cool cars have you done or had, or U-Hauls, $500 dirt, demolition cars?
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
U-Haul.
We were talking about your K car earlier, but
The K car was good.
yeah, but the hopping U Hizzle was
Oh,
where
dude,
it's
that
at.
was like a whole.
You didn't even bring up that you
that was
worked for
a
U-Haul.
whole era of Reed that we skipped.
Yeah,
we
man.
forgot about U-Haul.
Yeah.
Oh god, dude, I can talk however much shit I want about that place. It's the worst fucking company to work for in the world. Yeah, so I started at U-Haul. My homie Travis got me the job there.
Like the Travis that we went to Oregon with?
Yeah.
That Travis? Okay.
Yeah, dude. So I started there, and that was where I perfected my art of fucking up rental vehicles.
Yeah.
I think my favorite ones, dude, you get that like 92 to 97 OBS. So the 14-foot OBSs, and I don't know if this video is still out there. I didn't make it, but I sure recreated it. If you gas brake those things, you can
Little
get
gas brake dip, dude.
Dude, you can get those front wheels like 2 feet off the fucking ground. But you have to get the like 300,000 mile ones that they've done absolutely no maintenance to, that just have
They're just clapped.
the front's all blowed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, those were fun. I remember, I think it was Travis that took the fall, dude. So now they have that big ass storage building there, but it used to just be this empty field. And I can tell you that I have whipped shitties in every size U-Haul they make.
That's awesome.
Especially in the snow, dude. Like, we'd all get bored and smoke a bunch of weed at work. And, dude, we all sit on furniture dollies in the back of it and just... It was good. That was where I perfected some of my used car salesman stuff,
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, dude, when you're 16 and they're like, yeah, bro, we'll give you a $300 spiff for every U-Haul truck you sell, you're going to turn into a shitbag.
Yeah, real quick.
This dude come like, yeah, man, I'm moving to Florida. Yeah, dude, that 26-foot rental's like, it's like $4,000. But I can sell you a 1988 IDI 26-foot truck for $2,500, and when you get it there, you can just sell it again.
Yeah.
And you use a case of ether to start it because it hasn't moved in God knows how long.
Right.
And yeah, you make your $300 spiff and hope that guy made it to Florida.
Yeah, I'm sure he did by now. Yeah.
Or it got impounded and I brought it back.
We also talked about clean Sandy huts. Best job ever, dude.
Oh, dude, Sierra Shitter Solutions, man. It was the best summer of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was... Dude, I had like 3 jobs that summer.
Yeah.
I was like 16 and thought I was just rolling in it, dude. They paid me like $20 an hour to pump shitters.
Yeah.
And once you get past the smell, you're fine.
Yeah.
Dude, the
great
best-
job, honestly.
It really wasn't bad. Like,
Yeah.
dude, one of the best weeks I've ever had at work. Like, they had the celebrity golf tournament in Tahoe.
Oh, yeah.
And they had all like the super nice VIP bathrooms up there. And
Right.
dude, if you just keep the fucking Harrah's VIP shitter stocked full of teepee.
Yeah.
Dude, I ate filet mignon and fucking lobster for like a week.
Perfect, dude.
It was so awesome. Yeah, and then they also figured out that I could weld.
Yeah.
So they gave me, I don't know, some sort of mesothelioma welding galvanized fence panels for
Oh,
it.
perfect.
So, dude, yeah.
You just gotta drink milk. They'll take that right away.
Yeah. Yeah, Sierra Shitter Solutions, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I think that's mostly like my entire professional portfolio.
Yeah, I think so,
There's a
yeah.
lot there. But anyways, shit boxes I had.
Hey, Herbert, will you hand me a beer out of the fridge?
Yeah.
All right. You need another beer, Reed?
I can go there and look right.
Why are you crying? It's colorful.
It's a colorful episode, yeah.
Yeah, I learned the art of shit boxes working at a wrecking yard, dude. It's
Right.
You said a beer, Alex?
One of those, yeah, whatever you got. The Corona ones or the what'd you get?
You want a
A seltzer? Seltzer me daddy?
seltzer. You don't want those?
Strawberry?
No, not a yellow belly.
ruby grapefruit?
Ruby grapefruit. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man, working at wrecking yards, you really bring home some strays.
You do, yeah. Women included.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best stray I brought home. But anyways,
she's going to love this.
yeah.
I don't think you meet chicks at a wrecking yard, do you?
Have you seen my one?
No,
Yeah.
except for that
my
one.
bad.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny. There's like this whole, it's like the wrecking yard hot scale, right? Like a wrecking yard 10.
No,
like
we do that in mining. It's a mining 10 is like a 7 on the street or a 6
Yeah.
on the street. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. The same.
Is that Nevada or L.A.? What scale are you using?
Nevada.
Okay.
Whoa, dude. I don't want you to say anything that's incriminating, but what was that huge bush lesbian that always wear those fucking J's? She wasn't bad, dude. That was a wrecking yard 7, dude. That was a wrecking yard 8.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that one lie. But yeah, I think the first wrecking yard shitbox was the first gen,
Yeah.
and that thing,
Dude, with that thing with the git rag was so fucking scary.
that was the biggest fucking cantankerous piece of shit I've ever owned.
Yeah.
But I loved it. And dude, that's like for me. I think that's what really got me going. Right, that really shows what you can build out of a wrecking yard.
Right.
The truck came from a wrecking yard. The 3 different motors that were in it came from there.
Right. Well, hold on, we gotta stop for a second. We have to go through the conversation that you and Drew had because it's one of my favorite. Because if anybody knows Drew, he's a perfectionist. Reed and
When I built the motor,
yeah, Reed and I are more of a. It works. It's fine.
should be fine.
So Reed built this engine, and Drew's like, "You put used pistons in it," and Reed's like, "Yeah." He's like,
I brake cleaned them first. They were
Yeah.
the pistons that came with it.
and they came out of a running engine.
Yeah, it still had cross hatching in it.
Yeah,
The
and
motor was clean. It was fucking standard bore. So it is.
Drew looks at him and he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He's like, "How much did they weigh?" And Reed puts up both his hands. He's like, "I don't know. They felt the same."
They felt the same to me.
That was one of my all-time
Because they
favorite
weren't
things.
even from the same motor. You like grabbed. These are
No,
all,
the pistons were all from the same motor.
Yeah, same motor. Yeah.
You're like, you didn't balance it? Well, no, I didn't put the 5K springs in. I only put the 4Ks in.
Yeah.
Should be fine.
Well,
What did you grind? What did you balance the rods to? I don't fucking know. They're the ones that came out of it.
Yeah.
I wrote numbers on them. They went back in the same hole.
whatever fucking Cummins made it to.
Yeah, it worked when they made it 400,000 miles ago. But yeah, man, that truck started out as just literally like, dude, this old man was like 75, came in. It's like, hey, I'm going to sell you guys this truck. It's this fucking 150,000 mile, 5-speed, 4-wheel drive, first gen Cummins. And back then, dude, they weren't worth dick.
No.
And dude behind the counter is like, yeah, we'll give you like $1,200 for it. I'm sitting behind the counter like, motherfucker. I'll give you like $2,000 for it. And they're like, hey, why don't you get the fuck out of the office?
Yeah. Okay.
I understood.
Yeah.
All right. So I left the office, and anyways, I ended up paying them like $4,000 for it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, it was still worth it. They like, it shit a rear axle out of it like a day in. So they built the axle for me, and like they gave me the MV4500 for it, and you know, it's slowly progressed. You know, you keep adding and adding and adding, and finally it fucking breaks. So basically, what it was like, you know, trans is noisy. Let's give it a rebuild. So I put a clutch in it, rebuilt the trans, put it all in. Go to back out of my buddy Nick's shop and push the old clutch in, and all you hear is, huh, that's weird. We put a whole lot of clutches in. Never heard that noise. And we're sitting there thinking, and called South Bend, and they're like, yeah, nothing I can think of. And then the guy's like, oh, what about like thrust bearings? I'm like, oh, fuck you. And sure enough, the thrust bearings were in the oil pan.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's just shoving the flywheel into the back of the motor and the crank out the front of it. So my like $1,200 let's rebuild an MV4500 and put a clutch in it turned into they had also had a first gen, and I had sold them just absolute most screaming deal on a P-pump 12 valve that needed a head and a running 24 valve, with the deal that if they ever don't build it, they have to sell it to me for what I sold it to them for. And he's like, I'm not going to build it. You can buy it. And, yeah, that turned into, you know, like $25,000 in parts and made a whole bunch of fucking power. And it was fun. And then, like,
It still did not have good brakes, though. It was very scary.
it had good brakes after I rear-ended that dude 3
That
weeks
is
after I
true.
put it together.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my other art form is maximizing insurance returns on totals.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was driving to work and I was doing like 50 and I changed lanes to try to go around a guy and the next lane was stopped and I hit the fucking brakes, dude.
It was too late.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, buddy.
I folded that fucking truck in
The
half.
thrust was fucked the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you, I drove the first gen home though. But yeah, the insurance company came out like, yeah, looks like truck's worth about $2,500. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And you go through the whole thing, send me comparables, whatever, and the comparables they send me are all at dealerships in Reno that I sell parts to, and I call them like, bro, do you even have this truck? No. And dude, I fought with this guy for months, and by the end of it, he's like, look, man, I gathered that you understand how the insurance field works, so here's the number you can go to before I total your truck again, and I ran it within $25 of that number, and dude, I think they paid me like $12,000 to put a couple motor mounts in it and beat the fenders back out and keep beating the shit out of it.
Nice.
Dude,
That's a good return.
It was. That truck made me money.
Yeah, because you got a camper out of it, too. Didn't you trade that for your camper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that truck's for sale in Vegas now.
Is it? That doesn't surprise me.
It's on 26 by 14 inch KG1s.
Of course it is,
It's
yeah.
fucking sick. He wants like $20,000 for it. I'm like, ah.
It's
Yeah.
funny that Reed doesn't know if I know what his wife looks like. That he brought that up. Do you know who my wife is? Do you know
Yeah.
what she looks
I
like?
feel like you've got the art of the Facebook stock down.
Yeah.
Do you know when I met your wife, I thought it was Alex's wife?
Oh, you did, huh?
Where was that?
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
it was
I do.
at Drew's engagement party.
Drew's engagement
at
party,
Ranch
yeah.
Hera.
Yeah.
Was that drunk?
Yeah.
I think we all were.
We all
Yeah.
were. Yeah.
I was
I
like,
do remember that.
I was
Yeah.
like, Alex, you gotta tell your wife to stop bending over. I can see her colon. and Alex went with it.
Yeah. Why would I?
like, my wife's not even fucking here, bro.
She wasn't there. My wife wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was Alex's wife.
No.
Like, God damn, that's a short dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, there's a reacher in every relationship.
Yeah.
It's certainly me.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no.
Yep.
So, as far as the auto wrecking business goes, do you guys sell more parts to like your common guy that walks in, or do you do like insurance stuff? What's your?
You know, I'd have to actually look at what like the ratio is, but it's probably like 50-50.
Okay.
You know, the self-installer guy still is, he's that guy who's going to come buy those parts that are not, that the insurance company doesn't want. You know,
Right.
Dealing with the insurance company is, as everything progresses, as cars get more complex, as their requirements get more complex, is super difficult at times, just because there's so much of it that.
So, is there different grades of parts then?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, and there's a lot of it where, you know, you have to buy that late model stuff, but at the same time, some of that stuff insurance companies won't use for a few years because they'll go new.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's getting more and more difficult every day, and that's where a lot of these yard owners that are getting older and want to retire, that's where they're like, dude, I don't even want to.
It's not even fucking worth it, right?
You're relearning everything, but at the same time, it opens an entire new area of opportunity where you're like, dude, like during COVID,
Yeah.
buddy, part shortages are fantastic.
Oh,
so
I
when
bet,
you
yeah.
have them, like, you know, there was stuff that indefinite national back order were my 3 favorite words.
Right.
Like, you know, you get to where, I can't remember what bed it was, like 15 up F-150 5.5 foot aluminum beds.
Right.
Indefinite national back order.
Perfect.
You could sell used beds for $3,000 more than what a new one was.
Perfect.
Those were the first beds I bought from NGM.
Right. Right.
I didn't figure out till the end they were all diesels, but
Yeah.
they dude, you find those little things, right? Like, everything is getting so expensive, right? Like, you get to where all these cars have like adaptive LED headlights that are $1,500 a piece used. They have this little sonar sensor in the middle of it so it can drive itself, and that sonar sensor's $5,000 new, and
Right.
it makes it through the accident, and you can, you know, get $1,500, $2,000 for it. So
Right.
I think a lot of the important part is just, you know, evolving with business. It's the same thing with you, man. Everything gets everything changes, so you just have to evolve with it. And I feel like that's what that's what the company I'm with now has excelled at.
Excelled at, yeah.
Always adapting.
Well, and so it's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a little bit recession proof, because I would assume when people are buying new vehicles, you're parting out newer vehicles. When the recession hits, there's a lot of people fixing old vehicles because they don't have the money to fix new vehicles.
Yeah, you go through COVID or the last few years where your average age of car, the average age of car that somebody owns has gone up by 2 or 3 years. They're going to buy used parts to fix them a lot of times, and especially when you get into the reman stuff, like a lot of this new stuff, everybody has really the manufacturers have really struggled with making them reliable, in my opinion. You get into like the
EcoBoost.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell Davis.
Is that why he's all the way? Yeah, dude.
He walked away. He heard EcoBoost, started walking away.
Those things don't. They struggle to make it to 100,000.
Yeah, I would say I've got like a 50% success rate even on used ones if they were running at the accident.
Yeah,
they're same thing with.
So if the crank breaks, steer for a large metal something to run into,
and then I just have to hope I don't buy it.
Yeah, don't buy it.
Right,
because it needs a fucking motor and the front end.
Yeah, EcoBoost, and even like the motors, and like even now their 10 speeds are also just as big of a piece of shit.
Are they?
In all of their applications?
Yeah, I mean the trucks for the most part. The EcoBoost in I almost would argue that any manufacturer that adds a turbocharger to a factory motor, it is going to have problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did a EcoBoost for a Raptor, and that's the HO. And so we're trying to find parts for this fucker. We called you on the cylinder heads.
Yeah.
Because we want to do a CNC program.
Yeah.
But then 2017, there was 4 fucking versions of that engine in every option: minivan, truck, F-150, Raptor R, and nothing is the same. It looks the same.
That's where I feel like, Chrysler, Fiat, or whoever, like, dude, their stuff for the most part is the same, right? Like, I sell like a 3.8 motor out of a 2010 Caravan for like $800. But if it's a 3.8 motor that goes in a Wrangler, it's like $2,500.
The same motor.
Exact same motor. So I would I'd take all the 3.8 Wrangler cores I could get, pull everything off the outside, take a long block from a Caravan, swap it all in, and you've turned an $800 motor into a $2,500 motor.
Right.
But the Ford isn't the same way.
No, Fords are tough.
They're like, what?
They're one of, like, as far as like American brands go, they're my least favorite brand to sell parts off of. I loathe anything German.
We bought like 3 head gasket sets for a 3.5 EcoBoost for a 2017 Ford, and it was the 3rd gasket set was right. I had to buy it from the dealer, but it was like the application says that this fits this, and it's like the bore spacing's the same, the head bolts are the same, but the timing cover's different.
Well, and see, that's where, like, everything now has become so computer generated with, like,
because you guys have to know this to sell the parts, right?
Yeah, but none of it works. I mean,
okay.
Some of it jives, but a lot of where I've found my success is like, dude, when I started at Reno Auto Raking, they had 500 trucks to sell parts off of,
right?
And we're not going out and buying more,
right?
And it's just figuring out what fits that says it doesn't. It's looking at something. It's looking at the adjacent parts, finding, okay, the cylinder heads are the same, the block's the same, this is the same. Why doesn't it fit? And then you've got the customer who's like, yeah, dude, I don't want to buy a new one. I'll try it.
Right.
So it's just trying it all and remembering that.
It's fucking tough. You got to document.
Yeah.
When you sell it, you're like, actually, this fit a Dodge Caravan. It's an EcoBoost head, but actually fitted whatever.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, so much of that is wasted now with technology. Like your old school parts guys, like I learned from what's probably the last generation of those old school
Ray Blacks out there.
Yeah. I learned from that last generation of like, no, man, this is what we have, and we're going to figure out if it works. Whereas the computer's like, no, man, the end of that part number is AC, not AD. We think
so.
It's different.
What about selling your research back to the software company?
I mean, you can, but the problem is that most of the time, like,
they don't care.
No.
They made their money.
They make their money.
You pay your however much a month for the software. It sucks, but you're going to still pay it.
Yeah, and that's where, like, as a company, you just get that good group of people that like everybody's got their niche, right? Like this guy's super into Subarus and knows what fits
So
what.
he knows like the
Are you talking about
interchangeability.
Oh, dude,
He doesn't have a Subaru
Have
anymore.
we talked about that shit box?
Yeah.
I miss that car. Every once in a while, I find myself trolling Marketplace for like a really clean 06 STI. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Was it not fun?
It was
Oh,
fun.
no, it
was
was.
definitely one of the funnest cars I've ever rode
Yeah,
in.
it was scabbed together by some Russian fella in Sacramento, but it was a fun car.
And my lungs have never been the same since all the vaping in there.
You couldn't even vape then, dude.
I've
You
never
probably could have,
Dude,
dude.
the smell of grape was that shit he put in the methanol tank. Yeah. Yeah, and then and then Casey ends up with your old fucking Dodge, and that thing smells like fucking grapes for a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like, yeah, dude, that shit's expensive. I just use fucking water meth. Dude, that truck's
Yeah.
fun. I miss that thing.
So when it comes to buying the cars, that's probably something you have to look at is what cars am I going to actually sell parts off of
Yeah.
versus what car's going to fucking sit here for forever because they don't sell parts.
Yeah, and that's where, like, especially when you have a company as large as ours, you have all the historical data of you've got order history on what sells, right? Like
Right.
your late 2000s Jeeps, right? Like if it's a Wrangler, it's always going to part out. If it's a Grand Cherokee, will. But you get into that stuff where it's like we have all this data when we buy the car, and when we dismantle
Right.
it, you're looking at everything, and it gives you order history on every part you've inventoried, right? So it's like, okay, it says, I need 50 of these. I have 3. We're going to pull that now so you can
Right.
fulfill the order faster. And a lot of those older ones, man, like we pull everything we want off of it in the bay, and the
Right.
rest of it just gets scrapped.
Scrapped.
Then I would much rather. You have to look at every space in your yard. It's rent, warehouse
Right.
rent.
You
Right?
take the ripe tomatoes off it and scrap the rest.
100%.
Compost.
Yep. You just keep it moving, right? Keep moving the parts out so you can bring fresh ones in. I think I like it. My largest yard in Carson, our average age of cars, it's like that 280-day mark.
Oh shit, that's longer than I thought.
And there's some, dude, I mean, there's like the old lady that comes in, it's like, this 95 Taurus has just been a great car. And you're like, she's telling you how she's just done the brakes and all this shit. And you have to sit there and listen like you care. It's like,
She's like, I need a wiper arm. And you're like,
lady, I'm going to pull this thing off the trailer and do neutral drops till it doesn't move anymore. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to crush it.
Yeah.
Dude, I think my favorite one, like,
if I get a whole car in, I'll sell it to you and we'll park it at your house.
yeah.
And then you can
Because like I
take
said,
parts
it's
off.
rent.
You can take
Yeah.
parts off
Yeah.
as needed.
But at the same time, too, like, we always, as far as marketing goes, right, you're always trying those different avenues to go down. And we sponsored the Hoopty X's Burnout Challenge at SEMA last year. And, buddy, that was like the call I've been waiting for my whole life, right?
Hell yeah.
Like the Hoopty X and Gambler guys they're good buddies with a guy who runs one of our yards up in Oregon. And he calls me, he's like, hey man, they just need some cars to do burnouts in. I'm like, I've got
We
you.
can do that.
It was like 3 weeks before this kid comes in and like sells me this '02 Mustang that somebody very haphazardly 5-speed swapped. And it's
Perfect.
It's like already lowered.
I think I rode in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's already 5-speed swapped. It's got like 17 by 11 inch Cobra replicas, like wheels on the back, and
17,
dude, they're just giant.
11.
And he's like, yeah. He sends him pictures of it, and it's like, I'm like, do you need me to sell this a little more for you? So it's like, dude, I have videos of this car at SEMA. I sent this car down there. We put a clutch in it because I thought the clutch was like slipping or something or whatever. I pulled the clutch out and like the clutch was brand new, but the cable was just a factory cable that had no adjustment. And I'm not trying to put a ton of money into this car. Somebody else is just going to fucking destroy
Wreck it, yeah.
And you've always got like the thing I love about wrecking yards is there's always that one guy who like lives in his truck and can MacGyver anything together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey dude, I gotta figure this out. And he's looking at it. And he's like, he goes down, finds some like random washer and like shoves it behind the clutch cable, puts it back in, and it has a clutch again, right? So I towed this car down to SEMA, and I sent it with 5 sets of tires.
Perfect.
and I got it back with none of the tires and a set of wheels and tires on it that I don't know where they came from. But dude, this car
got a free upgrade.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, dude, this car is like just sideways over like cones. It's fucking up against K-rails, just doing like fifth gear burnouts, standing still. And I'm like, that's the part that keeps me going, man. Just
it's fun.
Yeah, being able to absolutely destroy shit boxes for a living is great.
Yeah.
Like, I've always enjoyed, like, you know, you gotta go around wrecking yards. I've got a big yard and car, so I need a car to drive around, and you don't get the most reliable cars to drive around the yard, but you do get a good variety.
Great variety.
Yeah.
Great variety.
So usually half the time when I'm buying these cars, I'm like, oh, dude, can I drive that thing around the wrecking yard for a few weeks? Like, did you ride in the show?
Oh, yeah. The Taurus?
Bro, we bought this 92 show, like OG show. And it had no cats in it. It ran poorly, but...
I wouldn't say poorly.
Yeah.
Off idle, it was not poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motor still, I mean...
Yeah, it put down.
But, dude, that was like one of the first cars I rode in as a 16-year-old. My buddy had one, and like, part of me is like, do I just think this thing was fast because I was 16 and it was loud as fuck? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I do remember doing really good burnouts, and you got to check it, and you're like,
Yeah.
that checks out. It's still good, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, you buy all these random ones. Like, I think my favorite one that I've had in a long time, I think it's just getting old, man. We ended up with a 92 Roadmaster.
Hell yeah.
Best fucking yard car in the world. Lots of suspension travel.
Mm-hmm.
The AC works.
It's like driving a couch.
Dude,
Bunch of space inside.
Yeah, it's great. You always have flats at a wrecking yard, right? Not just like I should take out at fucking stock and tire patch companies. But we ended up getting like this S10 in that had 31s and the right lug pattern. So I shoved these 31s in there, and we're like out there rolling the quarters out with a bat I can keep driving it around. Yeah, I'm really excited. I bought a new one that I actually haven't seen yet. This guy's like, hey man, I got this thing on a lean. Do you want it? And it's like a 86 Firebird on 35s and and a roll cage.
You got
and
the fire chicken?
Oh, dude, I'm like, yeah, I need that.
Let's not crush that. That might make the $500 gumball run.
Uh-huh. Dude, we've
have to come up with a new name for it.
Well, the best part is, so Austin had this Cadillac. It was a Coupe de Ville d'Elegance.
I still have it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, Reed ends up buying this yard. This fucking car that we had picked up after the thing ends up in Reed's yard, and it's still there.
We hadn't seen this car in like 10 years, bro.
Yeah.
It went to Austin's house. Austin's neighbor was a wrecking yard guy that we bought land from. And dude, like, when cash for clunkers hit and everything was $300 a ton, like, people would call me like, hey man, I got this car with no title, and be like, call this guy, he'll take it.
Yeah.
And he would take anything, dude. He had probably 200 cars at his house.
At his house.
Oh, shit.
Right next to Austin's parents' house.
And dude, this guy didn't give a fuck.
No.
There's a story about this guy. Someone's like, hey man, I want to sell you this car. Yeah, dude, it's $300, no problem. He shows up, hands the dude cash, is loading it on his tow truck, and this guy walks out of the house. He's like, what are you doing with my fucking car? Well, I just bought it. He fucking didn't.
Yeah.
Put my car back. And he's like, well, that guy, he goes, that guy doesn't live here, man.
Yeah.
Like, the neighbor's just pissed and wants the car gone, so he just calls this guy to pick it up. But yeah, so we ripped this thing through the fucking desert, and it ends up at this guy's house. And this yard we bought was just like a dumping ground for everybody. Everybody in the neighborhood had fucking keys to it before we bought it. And I go walk through the yard, and I'm like,
there's the d'Elegance,
that's
dude.
that fucking Cadillac.
And it was
the $300 Cadillac.
Yeah.
It didn't have reverse, right?
It didn't have reverse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never even tried to start it again. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
the Cadillac was good.
It was plush inside.
It was good. That was when what did I have that time? That was when I had.
That was when you had a K car. No, he had his Lexus.
I had the New Yorker.
You did have the New Yorker, yeah.
Chrysler New Yorker.
The
Yeah.
New Yorker
Isn't
was
that
the-
where we lost the front CV on it or something?
Yep,
I think?
that
Through
is
a
on
whip
the
section?
moon
fucking
rocks.
blew half the tranny out the
Oh,
side
yeah.
of the fucking whoop section.
Yeah.
But dude, all I remember is like, there's 5 people in this car, and it's got the digital speedo. Dude, I'm doing like 75 up this dirt road, and I come to the top of it, and there's a cattle guard there that I'm not gonna fit through, and I'm like, dude, I ripped the fucking e-brake, slid sideways, and I stopped like 3 inches from this thing. And everybody in this car, who I had known for 77 seconds at that point,
Yeah.
They're just kind of all quiet.
Everyone shit their pants.
Yeah. Dude. And literally, we're like 3 miles from where we camped at. One dude's like, I'm going to walk back.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck it, I'll walk.
Yeah. If you don't fear for your life every once in a while, are you having fun, though? Dude, we need to do that again.
We do. That's what we were just talking about with Davis, that we need to do another $500 car
I don't
run.
think $500 gets you much. It needs to be
does
like...
when you know Reed.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Dude, we need to do, like, I've wanted to do, like, since we've been with BNR, because, like, we're super heavy in Oregon, and they do the OG Gambler in Bend every year.
Right.
Like, I want to put together, like we had an ambulance for a long time that ran, and I'm like, dude, we want to do, like, support rig, right? Like, put a fucking tire machine in it, put all the tools in it, and just, like, go chase all these dudes and help everybody.
That'd be rad.
Yeah.
That old FL70 you have, dude, with the box van on it.
Oh, she don't run no more.
Oh, really?
No. That one's too big, though. You got to get, like, we had, like, an E-Series ambulance. Those ones are good.
That'd be good.
Yeah, every once in a while we do the ambulance. They made me stop driving around because it still had the PA and it still had sirens.
Yeah.
So I just like drive around the yard like I go fucking.
Did the hookers get mad about that?
No, dude, they don't really bitch too much, man.
That's good.
The only thing they got mad about is like when we did a bunch of yard maintenance once and it was real dusty.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was summer.
Yeah, I was there.
They were in the pool.
No, dude, they weren't in the pool. They were just like they're fucking single wide that doesn't have AC.
What hooker hut are you next to?
Well, let's see.
A lot of them.
There's the Pink Panty Palace.
The Sagebrush.
The Sagebrush. Kit Kat Ranch.
Oh, Sagebrush sucks.
It's rough ladies walking around there,
Yeah.
bro. That's definitely the bargain section.
And Reed and I allegedly got in trouble for stealing water.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, dude, that was the best.
So we rented this truck from fucking United Rentals. And I told Reed, I was like, bro, we need a water meter. He's like, no, we're good, dude. I was like, cool, man. I don't care.
It's fucking Mound House, dude.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
So we get water in this water truck for legitimately a week.
Hold on.
Allegedly. We get water in this water truck for like a fucking week. And finally the city shows up. And they pull us over because I had one of our water trucks there.
No, I don't think it was there yet.
It wasn't there
I
yet?
hadn't broken the other one
Oh,
yet.
yeah, you hadn't broken the other one. Yeah. So we just have this United Rentals water truck there. And the water guy shows up and he's like, hey, bro, where's your meter?
Dude, that was the best like interaction I ever had with someone. So I just filled this thing and I'm driving down the road blowing the water in. The county guy drives by. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
And he waves at me like,
hey.
Very aggressively, like, I need you to stop.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey. Just kept going. I turn around. He's like, hey, bro, where's your water meter? I'm like, oh, it's up by the yard. I mean, like the one that checked for the bill every month? He's like, no, the one to pay for the water you're taking out of the fire hydrant. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you had to do that. And he looks at me like, you just think it's free? I'm like, I don't know, man. I run a wrecking yard. I just went to fucking United Rentals, and they told me I had everything I needed to get water. So, yeah, I've been filling the water. He's like, all right, dude. I'm going to need you to go down to the county now.
Yeah.
And go get a fucking water meter.
We were nice enough, though. He didn't fine us or anything,
yeah,
dude.
He was super cool.
He was.
Like,
is that a ham roller? That's a good fucking roller, dude.
I'm like, yeah, bro. I mean, how do I pay for the water we already used? I don't even know. He's like, you don't.
You don't.
Rad. Thanks, bro.
Rad,
I'll go down to the county right now.
Yeah. How many tons of dirt did we put in there?
12,000.
12,000 tons of dirt.
12,000 tons of dirt.
Yeah. We were running triples in there all day long for fucking 6-7 days.
That was fun.
That was fun. I had a good time.
That was a good time, dude. But yeah, it's another instance of Reed breaking rental equipment.
Yeah.
So on the dash of those jobbers, it says don't run the PTO over like, was it 1,500 or some shit?
Yeah, it was like 1,600, I think. Yeah, something like that.
But the truck stops revving at 2,800.
Yeah.
And
it does throw water really well.
The more RPMs you give it, the further the water will go.
Yeah.
And turns out the old drive shaft for the PTO pump
leaves.
It left.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was good.
And then we brought one of our water trucks in there.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I was like,
can we say this or not?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, it's been long enough.
Yeah, it's been long enough. That statute of limitations is fucking worn out on this.
So Alex's dad has just put together this fucking really nice Peterbilt water truck.
389, fucking 600 horsepower.
It's got all the fucking cannons and joysticks that I don't have a fucking clue how to use.
Yeah.
And this thing shows up, and Alex is like, hey man, we need a truck. This one broke. His dad's like, yeah, dude, that's fine. You know, I want I want to get some time on it. We haven't used it on any jobs yet. Make sure all the bugs
It's
are working.
brand new.
It's brand new.
Just got put together.
Like $350,000 water truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't exactly know how the conversation went, but Alex's dad was like, I don't want Reed to drive it. I don't want Reed to sit in it. I don't even want Reed to fucking oogle at it out the window of a fucking loader. He tells me this. I'm like, yeah, dude, that checks out. I can see why your dad would say that. So who's going to drive it? He goes, oh, you are.
Yeah.
Sweet, dude.
Sweet. Perfect.
Yeah, so I drove that thing around for a week, and bro, the first day I backed it into the yard, like up top, so nobody would fuck with it. I was this fucking close to ripping the fucking mirror off.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, I thought I was going to fuck that thing up. But yeah, it was...
And we only caught one, which it wasn't our fault. It was the bodybuilder. They drooped the wires for the right side cannon over the drive line, and we did rip that out.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with me.
No, it wasn't anything to do with us.
I
was like, that fucking Austin. He dropped it off, and it was broken when he dropped it off.
Yeah, dude. I've still yet to be blackballed from our rental company, but
we're getting close.
I've still got aspirations.
Yeah.
Still got aspirations.
On that note, is there anything, if you're trying to teach somebody to be in the wrecking yard industry, that you would tell them to aspire to or to gain legs in the wrecking industry?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a very niche industry. Like there is very little education for it, right? Like,
right. There's probably none besides on-job training.
On the job training, man. You find that right company, and just go in there with an open mind and use your head.
Yeah. You're gonna have to. It's like any other industry that we're all in. You have to start at the bottom, and work your way up. You're not gonna be a manager right off the bat. You're gonna do shit jobs.
Yeah, I mean, we've hired managers that have never been in the auto recycling world, but the one thing that I see with that is they have the same learning curve as the guy who started with the bottom. They just have to much more quickly learn it.
Right.
But there's so many different ways to do it that, like, if you've got a good head on your shoulders, you want to learn and you want to work hard, like, it's a super rewarding industry to be in. I don't honestly,
and it's probably not an industry that a lot of people think about.
No, man. There's it's funny because, like, I'll go somewhere with, like, I went to some nurse benefit thing with Riley, and it's like, what does your husband do? I'm like, I manage a wrecking yard, and it's like, there's a whole ass industry, man. Like,
it's a big thing.
And I think a lot of it is, like, that's where it's grown from the junkyard, right? Like, because in the 80s they wanted you to dump your oil in the ground. Now it's like, you're figuring out, like, how to do it. I don't want to say green, but, like, dude,
but most people are thinking that it's like some fucking white trash dude fucking doing this, but it's a multi-million-dollar industry.
100%.
Yeah,
I mean, multi-billion.
Billion, yeah.
And there's so many different avenues to go down as far as how to, there's self-serve, there's late model stuff, there's and it's all just, it's a different business model, but all of it is just like, it's so you can use your head and kind of do whatever you want to do to make it happen. Right. And finding that company that'll give you the leeway to, have a good idea, try it, and if it works, run with it is where I've always done well at. Yeah, absolutely. I would give you that. On that note, I think that wraps up Torque and Horsepower this week. You got anything, Eric?
I'm out.
You're out? You're going to go buy a helicopter now?
No. I thought you wanted me to start a machine shop.
You do. Well, either you buy a helicopter or start a machine shop. Those are two options.
The math on both is exactly the same.
That's a losing endeavor.
It's like going to Vegas. Yeah. When you show up in Vegas, they're like, "How much money do you have? Put it in a garbage can, light it on fire. We'll save you the hotel fee.
Yeah.
Go home."
Go home.
Same
outcome.
outcome.
Like a good deal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
unless we're playing blackjack,
it's more fun to wreck a helicopter or start another machine shop. It is more fun. Still costs the same.
LeBron? Is that fun? Too soon?
Rip. Yeah.
Is it LeBron or was it? No, it was Kobe.
Yeah.
That was Kobe. Yeah, Kobe. Yeah.
I don't want to be in it when it crashes, but
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes this episode of Torque and Horsepower. Thank you.
Thanks, Reed.